It seems in this day and age, change is inevitable. And here at Lanier, we've experienced it once again as Dr. Reuben J. Gresham was promoted to Assistant Superintendent over High School Improvement and Operations, making way for Dr. Christopher Martin to become new principal here at Lanier. Dr. Martin is a Georgia native and grew up in Columbus, where he attended Columbus State University and received his bachelor's in psychology and master's in behavioral disorders. He would go on to attend the University of Georgia to get his doctorate in education. In 1999, Dr. Martin would join Gwinnett County Public Schools as an emotional and behavior disorder teacher. With his expertise in behavioral disorders, Dr. Martin was appointed to become assistant principal at the Hooper Renwick School in 2008, which at the time dealt exclusively with students with disabilities. Dr. Martin would then continue his leadership career at Meadow Creek and help open Discovery. He would then join Lanier's inaugural principal, Carenza Wing, at Collins Hill High as associate principal. As you listen to Dr. Martin in his first interview as principal here at Lanier, I hope you realize the same thing I did. To him, you matter. We first sat down with Dr. Martin on Tuesday, November 14th, just under a month into his new appointment as principal of Lanier High School. I began the interview reflecting on his past in Gwinnett County and the uniqueness of teaching students with disabilities.
Teaching students that have disabilities has always been just a passion of mine. Working with students, not really focusing on their disability, but focusing on their abilities. Advocating for the kids where learning doesn't come easy, and letting them know that through perseverance, you can do this. It's something that I enjoy doing.
At Collins Hill, Dr. Martin was influential in a CDAT-like program called C-STEM, so I had to ask, how does your preparation with the C-STEM program prepare you for CDAT and the Academy program here at Lanier?
We work with students with giving them the real-world lens of dealing with different content and different information. The learning was relevant to what the students were doing in the classroom and being able to relate it to something that we're currently dealing with within the world. And it was very exciting, very cool. And I think many of those things directly transfer to what we do here at Lanier High School with the Academy model, with really trying to make our learning relevant and applying rigor as well to what we do in the classroom so that we see the real world connection. Previously, before Collins Hill, I was actually at an academy school at Discovery as well as at Meadow Creek High School. I was at Meadow Creek High School when we initially started academies here in Gwinnett County. So I was very familiar with the academy concept and with academy schools, as well as many of the different the framework and things that are in place currently today.
Before Dr. Martin could be recommended to the Board of Education for appointment at Lanier High School, he had to go through this man, J. Alvin Wilbanks, CEO and Superintendent of Gwinnett County Public Schools. Talk about the interview process with Mr. Wilbanks and what that was like.
Oh, absolutely. It was very enlightening because, oftentimes you think that in a district this large, that in your mind sometimes you think, well, I'm just a little person out here at this school. He's really not going to know me and know what's happening, but he does. He has a lot of insight on a lot of things. He really has his finger on the pulse of the school district. And of course, anytime you are interviewing with someone, you're nervous. You are. Being nervous is part of it, but also knowing that you can be honest and answer the questions based on your knowledge and your training is what you then rely on.
Once Dr. Martin was recommended, approved, and appointed to take the helm, it was like a whirlwind. Now, what emotions were you feeling when it's your first day at Lanier, Dr. Gresham's last day, so he's sort of prepping you on what's going down, right. And you're realizing that everyone knows you, but you don't know anyone. What are the emotions going through your head?
First and foremost, there are 100 different things all going through your head at the same time, but it's also exciting. I'm one of those individuals that I love people. And so you really have to take everything in but also realizing that, okay, I've got to get moving. I got to get out. I've got to meet people. I've got to know what really matters to them. I've got to know, what things we need to improve upon. Those pieces become very important just in the work of the school, in every aspect of the school. That Friday morning, coming into the building, I started out with a faculty meeting with the teachers, and it was great to actually get a chance to speak directly to the faculty and staff, and then to begin to move around the building. The other thing was, by it being a Friday, immediately, I'm at a football game that Friday night, and very exciting, very cool. That particular Friday night, we had a win. So Coach Mobbs presented me with my first football that was signed that came from that game that night. So it was really cool and very exciting.
Prior to our interview with Dr. Martin, we sat down with his former boss and Lanier's inaugural principal, Carenza Wing, to gauge what Dr. Martin would truly be like. If you had to describe Dr. Martin in one word, what would it be?
Dr. Martin will bleed orange. He's gonna come in and be a Longhorn, and having helped start Lanier, I would say that I would not have given him my blessing or given him the recommendation did I not believe that.
Clearly, she knew what she was talking about.
Just being here, joining the Longhorn family is awesome.
For Longhorn Nation, I'm Andy Cole.